standing right out in front. Put the umbrella up. If they're going to get in front of our pictures, we'll get in front of everybody else. I'm sorry. I'm going to put it this shit. Just bring it down close. It's very difficult for people to see. Hey.
Got it. Oh, dang it, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Just pull it down a little further to us. That's good. We're sitting. Do you see him? Yeah.
The first one over there. My cousin's the first one over there to the and over by the tall guy. I'm trying. Not that one with the flag, but this one's the guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, commanding officer for recruit training 2012, Lieutenant Don Blanket.
As you can see, the young men and women have had quite a time out here. They have trained admirably. This training was challenging, not impossible. we've got the results to show for it. You'll hear their stories over the next few days, I'm sure. So we're certainly proud of them. The men and women who've worn that uniform before them, I'm sure would be equally as proud. We're pleased that you're able to come out here in the rain with us. I imagine this is Pearl Harbor, so we'll just keep moving forward here. I turn back over now to Keith to go over the various awards. Thank you.
The honor cadet is Seaman Recruit Kristen Malmos. Our honor squad is our 5th squad with Cadet Seaman Recruit Nathan Tomlinson, Carrera Cardenas, Samuel Lawson, Jalen Ricks, Nicholas Ross. The Chief Petty Officer's Award was given to Kara Cardenas. Physical Fitness Award with E appurtenance to the Presidential Standard was awarded to Kristen Melrose. The Physical Fitness Ribbon was awarded to Recruit Kara Cardenas, Baldane Forrester, Nathan Louis, Nathan Tomlinson, Jalen Ricks, Bison Porter. A round of applause for these cadets. They worked hard. The keynote address will be delivered by Lieutenant Jeffrey L. Mark.
Well, our state governor asked all of the religious leaders to ask their congregations to pray for rain, and so well done. I'm going to shift this podium just a little bit because I want to speak really more to the cadets than anyone else. I can kind of see them out of the corner of my eye. Well done, SW1, and that was very impressive work, and much appreciated.
Hoorah, sir!
Now, these remarks were written assuming it was going to be 95 degrees and hot and sunny, so I don't know if I can cut my remarks, but I'll try to talk really fast. Lieutenant Blancett, cadets, ladies and gentlemen, first I want to say congratulations to the cadets for their successful completion of recruit training. A recruiting poster for the Sea Cadet program reads, Sea Cadets, test your limits. During the last 12 days, your limits have been tested both physically and mentally, and you've risen to the challenge. You should be proud of this accomplishment, and you should think deeply about this experience. Think about the times you felt like giving up when you were physically exhausted or mentally frustrated. Think about those times, and then think about how you got past them. These will be valuable lessons to learn from. Also think about the times you felt with every molecule in your being like yelling right back at the staff member who was in your face. Think about the self-control that you showed, and this is a valuable skill to have. Think also about the friendships you formed with the cadets in your own unit and with other units. Think how close you've become in such a short period of time. Think how close you have become to them and how they've gone from just being fellow recruits to being shipmates. The camaraderie you feel is a small taste of the bond that will form with shipmates in the future if you join one of the military services. It's one of the many benefits of serving and one that does not come in any other profession. And think about which of your shipmates really stand out in your mind. They are probably not the best at close order drill or the ones who earned an expert appurtenance for their physical fitness ribbon. Or maybe they were, but it's not that skill that set them apart. It was their willingness to help you and other cadets. The people who stand out are the ones who took the time to help their fellow cadets. They were a listening ear when times were tough. They helped you learn to make your rack properly, learn manual of arms, study for a test, or help you in some area you needed help in. Think about how much their help meant, and then go and do likewise. Follow their example in your unit and in your life, and be a person who sees a need and fills it. This training has been tough, and it was meant to be. For the officers and instructors, this training meant time away from families, vacation time used, and very long and busy days. I want Lieutenant Lancet and his staff cadets to know how much we appreciate their service during this training. I want to speak to the cadets today about the Navy's core values. The Sailor's Creed reads, "I am a United States sailor. I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, and I will obey the orders of those appointed over me. I represent the fighting spirit of the Navy and those who have gone before me to defend freedom and democracy around the world. I proudly serve my country's combat team with honor, courage, and commitment. I am dedicated to excellence and the fair treatment of all." End quote. It's not only important for you cadets to understand the Navy core values of honor, courage, and commitment, but to demonstrate these values through your personal actions. As you do, you become a positive role model for others. So let's take a minute to look at each of these values. I'm going to one more time because it really is even stranger to be looking out onto an open field. Honor. Following the value of honor means that you will conduct yourselves in the highest ethical manner in all relationships with peers, superiors, and subordinates. You will be honest and truthful in your dealings both inside and outside the program. You will abide by an uncompromising code of integrity, taking responsibility for your actions and keeping your word. It means doing what is right, even when no one is watching. When you make a mistake, you own up to it, and then you work hard not to make that same mistake again. But if you do, you own up to it again. You don't blame someone else for the mistakes you made. It means following the honor concept of the United States Naval Academy. Midshipmen are persons of integrity. They stand for that which is right. They tell the truth and ensure that the full truth is known. They do not lie. They embrace fairness in all actions. They ensure that work submitted as their own is their own, and that assistance received from any source is authorized and properly documented. They do not cheat. They respect the property of others and ensure that others are able to benefit from their own property. They do not steal. When I served on active duty in the Navy, I had the opportunity to report to the ballistic missile submarine Georgia, which was under construction. During this new construction period, I had the chance to learn more about how a submarine is put together than I ever could have by reporting to a boat that was already commissioned. Watching this construction process was very helpful in the submarine qualification process. To earn our dolphins, we had to know about every tank, every valve, and every piece of equipment on the submarine. For each system, there was a signature on the qualification card. Submarine qualified experts in that system were designated as signers. To attain their signature, you studied the system on paper and on the boat, and then you reported to them to be tested. They always had you draw the system and often had you walk through the boat explaining each of the components. If you came ill-prepared, hoping for an easy signature, you were not only sent away to study, but the second meeting would be longer and filled with even more detailed questions. You learned quickly not to come ill-prepared. One of our shipmates, a sonar technician, was an electronics and an acoustic whiz, but he had a hard time with the machinist mate sorts of things. Pipes and valves were not his thing, and he made the mistake of studying only lightly. He went repeatedly to machinist mate Chief Kaiser for a signature on trim and drain, and was denied each time, being sent away to further study how water comes into the boat, gets moved around, and then gets discharged. Shortly before the boat was commissioned, Chief Kaiser was transferred to another new construction submarine. 3 years later, while at Pearl Harbor, we were pleased to have a visit from then Senior Chief Kaiser. At some point in the reminiscing, someone commented that they could not believe that Chief Kaiser ever signed the trim and drain signature for this sonar tech. Chief Kaiser said that he never did. And he said this guy just did not know his stuff and he wouldn't take the time to learn it. The qualification card was pulled from the ship's office, and there on the trim and drain line was the chief's signature. But the chief pointed out how that signature was different from his other signatures on a different system. It became immediately apparent that the sonar tech had forged the chief's signature. Later that day, I heard an announcement on the 1MC, the general announcing system that I had never heard before. All hands maintain quiet about the decks while a captain's mask is held in the wardroom. Presented the evidence, this sonar technician, now a submarine qualified petty officer second class with an excellent record of service, admitted to forging the signature 3 years before. Taking into consideration his record of excellent service over the 3-year period, the captain decided not to pursue the penalties for violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. He took only one action. Standing up, he reached across the table and ripped the dolphins from the petty officer's dress blue uniform. He was disqualified submarines. He was told to leave the submarine immediately and that his gear would be delivered to him on the pier. And so it was. He was never able to return to the submarine service. This action to some may seem severe, but he had violated the submarine qualification system and a code of honor that you do not violate. Cadets, always strive to have honor. Courage is the value that gives you the moral and mental strength to do what is right, even in the face of temptation or adversity. When we speak of courage, we sometimes think of courage in battle, and certainly that is needed. As General of the Army Omar Bradley said, bravery is the capacity to perform properly even when scared half to death. And General Patton said, all men are afraid in battle. The coward is the one who lets his fear overcome his sense of duty. While you may someday serve your nation in combat, it is the daily battles of life where you will be most tested. This is where you will exercise moral courage. Field Marshal Slim said, moral courage simply means to do what you think is right without bothering too much about the effect on yourself. To do what is right, so do what is right and let the consequences follow. You adhere to a higher standard of personal conduct and decency. You have the courage to do what is right in every circumstance, even if it is inconvenient or hard. You have learned through this training that you can do hard things. In all you do not let fear overcome duty. Cadets, always show courage. Commitment. Commitment means you are all in, and there are no half-hearted measures. It means that once you agree to do something, you're assigned to do something, you give it all you have. You work until the task is done. If you can't find a way, you'll make one, and there'll be no excuses. As Winston Churchill said, you never, never, never give up. It also means that you will be intensely proud and loyal up and down the chain of command, and you'll show respect and demand respect up and down the chain of command. It also means that you'll show respect toward all people without regard for race, religion, or gender, and you'll treat each individual with dignity. It means that you will be a strong part of whatever team you belong to. You will not be the weak link. If you fail after trying your best, you will pick yourself up and try again. You will be someone others can rely on. In the military services, you will be depended upon. You must be dependable. Let me share with you one last quick sea story. Back on the Georgia, long before commissioning, hoses, pumps, welding gear, and all manner of equipment is thrown about in a very ship-shape-like manner. From 1800 in the evening until 0600 in the morning, construction continues, but the only Navy crew aboard are the roving ship safety watch and 2 engineering watchstanders in the maneuvering room and engineering. The main duty of the ship safety watch is to ensure that there are no fire hazards, as only temporary firefighting gear is in place. But another duty is to record the levels of about 25 different tanks. Other readings must be taken locally at the tank by a mechanical sight glass. It's too early in construction to trust remote indicators. One tank in particular is very difficult to get to. It's in a machinery room build and involves going down a ladder, into the bilge and crawling about 10 feet under a temporary wood deck. It's January in Connecticut, and there's not heat in the bilge. The 10-foot crawl is cold, dark, and oily. It's a real pain. And for 6 months, every hour, the reading is the same, 0. Late one night, the engineering officer was making a random tour of his spaces. They're not really his spaces yet, as the Navy doesn't own the ship, but nobody tells him that. As he reviews the log carried by the ship safety watch, a number catches his eye, and he asks the watch if he sighted the tank level on every tank. The watch answers that he did. The engineer then tells the watch to accompany him to the maneuvering room, where it is verified that 1 gallon of water was transferred to that tank in the bilge. Upon seeing this, the watch admits that on his last 2 hourly rounds, he did not make that crawl and simply wrote 0, as it had always been. He was tired after a long day's work, was operating on little sleep, and would get little that night due to standing his watch, and then would start a full day of work the next day. In that moment, his commitment flagged, and he was not dependable. That evening, he was relieved of his watch and lectured severely on the importance of following through on doing your duty, even when you're tired and it's not convenient or comfortable. The next day, he was off the submarine on his way eventually to serve as an engineman on a tugboat. 2.5 years of training to be an electronic technician on a nuclear reactor were wasted. He will never serve on a submarine, nor in the Navy or out of the Navy in the field of nuclear engineering. Cadets always follow through and show commitment. In closing, follow this admonition in the current edition of the Blue Jackets Manual. Before you make a decision to do something, you must consider whether your action will reflect a loss of honor, a failure of courage, or a lack of commitment. Cadets, congratulations again on your successful completion of recruit training, and never forget what a privilege it is to wear the uniform of a sailor in the United States Navy. Thank you.
Hey! Hoorah! It's Mr. Truth!
I'm soaking wet.
I know you're soaking wet. I'm trying to get my girl over you a little bit. I don't know how to try it. You're right. I know. You're really wet.
Hey!